Hey everybody, I hope and pray that you're doing well. Today, we come to our word from the Word. And today that word is weather. Weather. Kind of with the idea of are you willing to weather the storm? And it's kind of the same idea that we talked about the work yesterday that was going on in Nehemiah chapter 4. And that work continues on today in what we're going to see. And we'll just pick up right where we left off. But it's that same process that we've been talking about all week is the warfare that's going on, the enemy that's coming against them and comes against us. And what are we going to do? Are we going to first, as we talked about, is our first response going to be to pray? Then will we continue on to work? And then today, talking about weathering the storm, weathering the struggle and the strife and the accusations and the confusion that's going on. Are we able to weather that while also kind of preparing for the future? Right? We'll talk a little bit about that tomorrow as well. This is all tie in together, I pray. So today, Nehemiah chapter 4, looking at verse 10 through verse 14, today it says, Then Judah said, The strength of the laborers is failing, and there is so much rubbish that we are not able to build the wall. And our adversaries said, They will neither know nor see anything till we come into their midst and kill them and cause the work to cease. So it was when the Jews who dwelt near them came that they told us 10 times, From whatever place you turn, they will be upon us. Therefore I positioned men behind the lower parts of the wall at the openings, and I set the people according to their families, with their swords, their spears, and their bows. And I looked and arose and said to the nobles, to the leaders, and to the rest of the people, Do not be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, great and awesome, and fight for your brethren, your sons, your daughters, your wives, and your houses. I love that where it says great and awesome. And I believe it's the King James Version that says the terrible, talking about terrible God. And what it means by that is God is great and awesome and terrible. In other words, his strength and he's awe inspiring. That, if you're on the enemy side of God, then that is a terrible place. Your view of God would be terrible, that he could wipe us all out in just a moment. But today, thinking about weathering the storm, weathering what we have faced in front of us. Now, I guess the thing that the Lord was just really kind of speaking to me, and I pray is speaking to you through this today, is that you notice how Nehemiah says, "Look," he gathers the people, the nobles, and he, it's something that the fear has gotten everybody, from the ones that have a lot of rule or leadership roles, and to the ones that are just following orders, whatever, just doing whatever they're told. Uh, it's something that fear has gripped all of them. So Nehemiah's first words are those kind of words that are familiar from angels, right? Fear not. He says, look, don't be afraid. Don't you remember who we're serving? We're serving God. And going back to even what was said earlier, don't you understand that this enemy, that all these enemies around us, that even no matter what they do, they conspire to come against us, that they're not really attacking us, but they're attacking God. And if they're attacking God, then yes, God is great and terrible. He's great and awesome, that he can take care of them. All we need to do is not fear, trust him, and then be willing to fight for what God has given you. Be willing to fight what God has blessed you with. I think it's interesting that as Nehemiah in his vision of how he was going to accomplish this task, that everybody was working on a section of wall right in front of them. Right. And even here that, he's got them separated by families, because let's be honest, you're not going to get a lot of work done if the enemy, if your family is somewhere else, and you'd be more concerned about what's going on with them and how could you protect them. So he separates them by families, knowing good and well that they're going to look out for the wall that's being built right there, that they're going to make sure that wall is not going to fall right by their home. They're going to make sure that as they're building, that everybody in the family is staying close by. And then they'll know that there's nobody else that's filtered in, that's nobody that's pretending to be family, because they will know whether or not they're family or not. But see, the same thing applies to us as believers. Are you willing to work We don't have to work on the whole wall of God, right? We don't have to work on the whole great will of God for all of the church. All we need to do is work on what's right in front of us. All we need to do is work on what God has placed in our hearts, in our lives, right in front of us. Yes, we do it individually. Yes, we do it as families. Yes, we do it as community. And then guess what? When we're all working together, now the wall, and that just really just for us, it stands for anything that God has called us to accomplish according to his will. So are we willing to all work together to accomplish it? But more importantly, make it personal. Are you willing to work and weather the storm to accomplish what's right in front of you? What God has given you to do. Because you also understand that if any one of us fails to do what God has called us to do, then collectively, as a group, we're all failing. See, that's the problem that we face today, is that there's too many that are saying, well, I've done my part, but we do nothing to help others. But first and foremost, we have to say, am I doing my part? Am I willing to weather the storm and do whatever it takes to accomplish God's will in my life? God bless you, and I pray you have a great, great day.